I'm so excited to have all of us here. It's amazing to see everyone here eager and ready to learn. How are we all doing today? How are we all doing today? Hi, Violet. Hi. Hello. Welcome. Amazing. Hi, Josephine. Hi, Prince. Hi, Ade. Hi, Oluyemi. It's good to see you. It's good to see you all. It's good to see you all. This is amazing. Oh, great, great, great. Hi, I see we have Afiz, we have Folashade, we have Dolapo on the session today. Amazing, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Oluwatobi Okafor. I am a senior cybersecurity specialist with Analytics, and I'm excited to have you on today's session with me. All right, I believe we are all here to have fun and learn as well. Am I right? Do I have that correct? We are all here to have fun and learn, right? Okay. All right. So, like I said before, we're here to have fun. Yes, but we're also here to learn. And before we go further, I'd like to know where everyone is joining us from. I am obviously joining us from Nigeria. I mean, okay, I'll say Oluwatobi from Nigeria, right? So I'd like to know where everybody else is from. So I'm asking Violet, I'm asking Dolapo, I'm asking, I believe I have Afiz on the session. I'm asking everybody, all right? Okay, let me see where I have my callers joining me from. Okay, so I cannot seem to find. Okay, thank you, Oluyemi. You're joining from Houston. Thank you, Josephine from London. Thank you, Nadi from the UK. Adepi is joining us from Maryland. Dolapo is from Canada. Hi, Afiz. Welcome. You're from Nigeria. Violet is from Manchester, UK. Christopher is from Maryland as well. Nice, nice, amazing. Sophie is from New York. Kayode is from the UK. Awesome, guys. Awesome. I'm asking so that I know how to greet you, say whether to say good morning or good afternoon or good evening and whatnot. But the goal is for you all to come here, have fun, and learn as well. All right? Great. Amazing. Thank you, Samuel. Hi, Samuel from the UK. It's good to have you with us. Okay, I think I need to reshare my entire screen so that I can have us enjoy this session with me. All right. Give me a minute, please. Let me just share properly. Okay. Okay. There. All right. I think this is better. And now I can take it to full screen. Great. Okay, okay. Now I think we are back in the game. All right. So I now that we know where we're all from, well, I believe you're all here to learn about a little bit in cybersecurity, where we talk about analyzing logs, understanding the logs to a large extent, and understanding how to check your responses or your results for threats, for security threats, and what have you. Am I right? Now, before we even go further, I believe that everybody here at one point or the other has had cause to say, oh, I was using my phone to interact with applications or interact with a browser. And at some point in my interaction, I realized that I wasn't getting maybe I was having a slow, my network was slowing down, that was slowing down. I'd like us to tell me your experience, right? So, like me, for instance, once I realize that maybe I'm not able to interact with a particular website, I tend to just restart my browser, or I tend to just check my browser for how much RAM I have available, especially when you use an Android phone, where on the top right corner of your screen, your phone screen, I beg your pardon, you'd see where you say something like 4 point something gig of 8 gig available. So I know, okay, do I have to restart my phone, or do I have to just close some apps and have ease of using the other apps? Am I right? Who else has experienced that in using either their laptops or their phone? Who has had cause to restart stuff? Yes, we're going to we're going to get to what logs are, Josephine. That's why I'm asking these questions. Like when you use your normal devices or your phones or your laptops or your tablets, for instance, and it tends to slow down. Do you restart your phone? Do you refresh your phone? Do you like check what you have open and close some of these tabs? What do you do? So I think I have a sister. I have a sister. I have sisters. Nice. So I restart my phone too. I restart my PC too. I just like, I don't have time for this drama. I just press restart or I just click on reboot on my device. Right? Thank you, Samuel. So a lot of us don't even remember that we can actually clear cache, and that's one of the things you have in your browser. So even your browser will tell you like, oh, this thing is slowing down. Can you help us figure out what it is, clear the cache, clear the cookies, depending on how versatile you are with using a web browser. Amazing, amazing. Okay, before we go too far, I have talked so much about what we are trying to do. I haven't properly introduced myself, nor have I introduced my colleague on the call. All right. Okay. I would like to introduce my colleague. Hold on, please. Give me a minute. I have to go. Escape. Uh, sorry, please. Okay. All right. Yeah, so as I was saying before I got distracted with my device acting up, yes. So I need to introduce us. We have talked and gisted about what we prefer to do when we have calls to interact with our devices and it starts to act up like mine just did right now, right? So I like to talk about it, yeah? Okay, so for instance, you have calls to um talk to somebody and the person says, oh, you're here, you came to learn. Who exactly are you learning from? Who exactly are you learning with? Right? So this is what I'm about to discuss with us. We are obviously, you know us already, but I'm going to tell us what more we do in Analytics. We're Analytics. We are definitely the leading edtech company in the world. I prefer to say in the world because we come with everything to the table, right? We're focused. We are good at specializing in our training. We are one of the people that ensure that we give you everything we promise and more. And I'm not boasting right now. I'm telling you the actual facts. And like I've said so far, we're currently on our fifth year where we have built amazing talents. If you look at our testimonials that you were watching when we started this session, we have built amazing, amazing talents in the technical workforce. We have helped over, I think we're currently at 3,000 plus people who have successfully transitioned from the classroom into their first job in tech. And we have people across the world. So when I say globally, I wasn't kidding. We have people from the UK, we have people in the US, we have people in Canada, in Europe, in Asia, in Australia, in Africa, and I am not boasting, I'm not joking with you all. I promise you, there is, if you pull up a map and you have like red dots to show where Tenalis has made impact, I promise you, you will find a red dot in every single continent of the globe. And the beauty of this is that we are actually very committed to ensuring that everybody that wants to access the technology sector can do it. And they don't just come anyhow, they come correct every single time because we provide premium and experiential training in data analytics and business analysis, data engineering, data science, cybersecurity, financial analytics, and so much more. We do not play. And I'm talking about from the fact that we have the most amazing set of instructors that work in global companies such as Apple, Microsoft, McKinsey, Amazon, and so much more. And because of where they work and what they do in their workspace, they are definitely going to come with a wealth of knowledge, amazing wealth of knowledge that they will then use to teach everyone that comes into our classroom from a place of experience and a place of practicality. So you're not just learning about, oh, what is cybersecurity or what is networking or what are logs, like Josephine asked me earlier. You're learning about how to use those logs, how to interact with those logs. So you don't leave our classroom with just head knowledge or theory. You leave our classroom with skills, like proper skills. And there's really nothing you want to encounter that you'll be able to say, oh, I know what this tool is, and I know what this tool can do. Okay? Now that we know who has brought us all here, I'd like to talk to you about myself and my amazing colleague. Okay? So my name is Oluwatobi Okafor, like I said earlier, and I am an information security analyst. We're the ones you refer to as people who try to ensure that we safeguard information in whatever form it comes into our own sphere. All right. So I have years of experience and expertise in vulnerability assessment, threat detection, penetration testing, cloud security, and so much more. Like I said before, I work with analytics as a senior cybersecurity specialist, and I have been successful in guiding over 100 people from no tech knowledge into actual functional cybersecurity professionals, right? I am an ISC2 member. I have different certifications. And like I said before, I have proven experience and proven skills in web application security, API security, and so much more. And I am a big believer and a big, what's it called, crusader for skills over certifications, for projects over just talk, for proof over just saying, oh, I know this thing. I have to be able to show that I know it with my projects, right? And on this session, I have with me my amazing, amazing, and awesome colleague and partner, Muideen Adeakin, which I like to call Prince. Now, Muideen is one of the most amazing colleagues to have in your team because, first of all, he doesn't just come with data analytics skills and business intelligence skills. No, he also comes with a wealth of experience that helps organizations across the different divides streamline their operations so that they are aligned with their strategic goals. And Muideen has been an amazing mentor, not just for our participants, for people like me as well. So it's not just about mentoring people outside, people like his colleagues to get mentorship from him as well. So that's how awesome he is. And he has helped over 500 plus people go from being just regular tech learners to having proper jobs with his mentorship and his help. Like I said before, he has not just worked in the edtech industry, he has worked in different spheres from BBX UK, Bournemouth UK to Nigerian Canine Society Nigeria, as well as the management and data analytics consulting field. Like I said before, he's versatile, he's skilled, he's experienced. Now that I have introduced my colleague to you, I'd like to talk to us about why we are here today. All right. So today, like I said before, when we were discussing about the different things we would do if our devices decided to treat us like we don't know what we're doing, we are going to be looking at understanding what logs are. This is where we're going to be answering Josephine's question, right? And then we'll go ahead and look to analyzing logs with the aid of Wireshark. And when we are done doing all of this, we will then talk about how Analytics is going to help you understand cybersecurity so much so that you go ahead and use the skills and the knowledge and the learnings that you get from us to secure a proper job and earn well. And then we now have an amazing offer for you, right? We are coming to you with a special discount that gives you not just the benefits of the classroom, but the benefits of your pocket smiling with you. All right? Now that we know why we are here, let us look at it and get into it, okay? Amazing, amazing. So, Josephine, you asked me earlier, right? You said, what are logs? You said, are they issues, right? Now, logs are not necessarily issues. Logs are, you see, when you're working with a particular device, whether it is a laptop, a tab, a server, a big computer, whatever it is you're working with, all right, it always has records. Somebody somewhere is keeping records, all right? Now, somebody somewhere in this case are the logs, okay? They are computer-generated records of events that occur on your system. So whether it's a Mac system, whether it's a Windows system, whether it's a Linux system, these are actual system events that occur. Now, something somewhere has to keep records, right? And that is what logs do. They keep those records. So let's say you put on your laptop, there's a record of it. You put in your password, there's a record of it. There might not be like a literal record of your actual password itself because of security purposes and privacy purposes, but there's a record that at some point Violet put in her password into her device, right? And then you now have, okay, then maybe at some point you went from using your host machine to using a virtual machine, right? There's a record of it in your systems. Now, log analysis itself is how we then look at those records that we've generated, the computer generated, or our device has generated, and we query it, we interpret it, we look through it, like we comb through it to look for valuable insights. When I say valuable insights, I mean like information, pointers, things that tell us, okay, there's a problem here. Oh, this is not normal behavior of your device, or this is normal behavior from your device. This is what log analysis is. Now, I purposely separated traffic analysis from log analysis because I feel like a lot of times when people hear log analysis, we automatically think, oh, it's the same thing. Everything are logs. Yes, everything is a log because it's similar to how you say, okay, normal tree log. That if you look at a tree log on a normal day, I'm sorry, I'm diverting. I'm sorry, I'm digressing. If you look at a tree log on a normal day, if you're a kind of person that likes to have fun and adventure, like the Americans say, where you go camping, you go hiking and whatnot. If you look at a typical tree log that has been cut, you see that in the trees you have these rings and rings and rings. Does anybody know what those rings are? Have you ever seen a tree log and seen those rings and thought to yourself, okay, what exactly are these rings? What do they represent? What do they mean? Who has tried it before? Who has tried it before? I like answers. I want to use that as an analogy so I understand what I'm trying to explain. Okay, I'm waiting for answers, please. Who has tried it before? Where you go, even if you go and browse online and you see a tree log, have you ever? Thank you, Ade. Thank you. Yes. Yes, it keeps a record of the age and a record of the happenings around that tree. Okay, so maybe at some point somebody cut some part of the tree or maybe the tree back off. You see that that particular line will be typically faint or a little bit wobbly. You see that at times, even those rings tell you how long that tree has lasted outside of the age and the kind of weather for people that are like tree freaks or information freaks. I love to read, so pardon me, please. Right? You find out that these rings tell a lot of stories outside of just the age. They tell you the weather within which this particular tree thrives and where it doesn't thrive based on how smooth the circle is or how wobbly that circle is. And it tells a story. So you see these lines are similar to how we analyze our own logs. How we're analyzing those lines right now is how we analyze our logs too, right? And the funny thing about it is that the same thing you're doing when you're analyzing logs, same thing you're doing when you're analyzing traffic. The difference between the two is that a lot of times with network traffic analysis, which is similar to log analysis or the same thing in true essence, is that you have traffic that is captured live. So as it's happening is how you're capturing it. As it's happening, you're capturing that occurrence or that event. You're not coming back later to come and say, oh, let me come and see it later. Now, the beauty of traffic analysis itself is that you can actually save it. So when you save that information, it becomes a log. Right? When you save that information, it becomes something you can come back to and sit with and comb through. Do you understand? You're going to comb through it. You're going to, okay, this is what I have, so I notice this is what's going on with this space. And because of this reason, I'm able to see potential threats. I'm able to see anomalies and use that information to properly understand the workings of my network and by virtue of that, give my organization a proper security posture by improving their security, their network security overall, right? Now, why do we say log analysis is important? Like I said here, it is crucial and important because when you are saying you want to protect a house or a compound, if you don't know who is coming and going, who is doing things in that environment, who does what, who goes where, when do they come back, how do they come back into their space, what entry point do they come back from? But I know it might sound vague, but what this means is that, say for instance, you have a very big compound. In that compound, you have about maybe 4 to 5 houses, right? Each house has maybe 6 apartments, right? It means that you have a lot of people coming and going. Am I correct? You have a large number of people coming and going in your space, right? I'm waiting for responses, please. I want to know you're following along. Okay, thank you. Now, because you know that you have a number of people that are coming and going, you can then put your security person or a security company at the entry point, or it can have maybe like 3, 4 gates that enter into that compound, right? So you have security personnel at each point. These are the tools that we use to analyze logs now, right? That will now analyze, okay, are you supposed to be here? Are you authorized to be here? If you're authorized to be here, how long are you supposed to be here? Right? And as they're coming in, maybe they have badges, they have tags, they have some form of information, ID, or even their names, right? That allow you to know who came in at what time, like those signing books that you have in some organizations, right? Who came in at what time, who did they come to see, what was their business, right? And when did they leave? Right? These are the things that you do with log analysis. It allows you to see. You're able to see better how the environment behaves. And because you know what to expect per time, you know when there's a problem, you know when it is abnormal, right? That's what analysis helps you to do. Okay? So at the end of the day, the reason why it's important is because by the time you know what to expect in your environment, you know when something is wrong. It's like having your child or your sibling, for instance, saying, Daddy or Mommy, I'm feeling sick. How do they know they are feeling sick? Because they know when they're feeling all right. So similar to this, how do you know the network is having issues or might have potential threats coming up? It's because you have analyzed your network. You know when it is performing normally. So when an abnormal occurrence occurs, you know that there's a potential for threats being about to occur. And if at all it has even occurred, maybe there's already happened and it's a bad thing, you are able to respond effectively and know where to start blocking, know which gates to start locking, know what measures to start putting in place. And then you're able to easily find the problem, right? The malware that has come in or that has gone out, and you are able to use that information to either get better security, a better security company or a better security guard, or to have better security measures put in place. Maybe you have fingerprinting for people going forward, or you have people do an iris scan, or you have people have a specific passphrase that they use before they enter into that compound. Same thing with the network, right? This information allows you to better plan and prepare your environment, so you're not caught unguarded. All right, that's one of the reasons why we do log and traffic analysis in cybersecurity. All right, so far so good. Do we understand? And I'm asking Josephine in particular now. Do you understand what logs are now? Do you understand what logs are now and what they entail? Okay, I'm waiting on our answers, please. Amazing, amazing. That's beautiful. So now you are able to follow along with me. Thank you, Oluyemi. Thank you, Ade. Amazing. So now you're able to understand and work with me. All right. So now the fact that we've understood what logs are, I know that we have different types of logs. So it's not just about, oh, we have log A, log B, and all of that, right? We have different types. So the logs, what you will get in a system is not what the same thing you get in applications, the same thing you get in audits and so on and so forth, right? Now, the reason why I'm saying this is I want us to understand a little better what we look at. Now, if you look at my screen, you see that I have different types of logs pulled up and their usages and examples of what these logs entail. When I was talking earlier, I mentioned how when you start up your PC, something logs somewhere, right? A record is kept somewhere. We refer to this as system logs. Okay, so what this does for you is that it allows you to know when there's a problem with your operating system. So I don't know if anybody has ever experienced what we call the blue screen of death. Has anybody experienced that before in interacting with their device? When your PC just goes blue and you say something like, we're sorry, we are checking for a minute. Your PC will soon go back to starting. We believe there is an error somewhere. Please don't shut it down. That blue screen that you now have that crying emoji. That's one of the scariest one of the scariest things to experience in working with or using a laptop or a desktop or whatever top you're using at all, right? Because it can be a harbinger or an harbinger of multiple issues, right? And like I said before, this does actually help you understand what is going on with your operating system, if it's outdated, if it's up to date but having certain issues, if it needs to be patched for a specific vulnerability. These logs help you see it if your operating system, if your warning signs or triggers are not sending you any kind of alerts. Luckily for us, Windows is very neurotic about alerts, so you get this patch management alerts as and when they come out, right? Like what I put here in my screen, I told you the examples of when we collect system logs. We collect them when you're having a driver with particular application loading. Say, for instance, your Wi-Fi, for instance, maybe at some point it stops working. And then every time you troubleshoot, it tells you, oh, the current driver is not compatible with the OS, which means that you have to install or update the old driver, right? This is you only know this because there's a log somewhere that now tells your troubleshooter that this is the issue with that driver, right? Same thing with security logs. Now, security logs is funny and it's fun in the sense that it helps with identification. So we call authentication identification, right? So say for instance, you use your PC, but you know how we do where you have your original owner, the original user, then you have guest A, guest B, guest C, and you name them different names, right? So if at some point somebody else is trying to access your device, it shows up on the security logs. So somebody came in through guest A and maybe watched a movie and something. The first place that it shows up is the authentication events on the security logs. All right. Then you have the authorization events. Now, are they authorized to come in? If they put the password more than once, then it might flag it and say, okay, what's going on here? Because it's a guest. The original person, if you put the password 3 or 4 times, it then asks you to type normal words like A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. When you type, it then tells you to type your password again and gives you the hints that you put in the original what's it called? Use of your device, right? And if you are someone like us now, Prince and I, that have single sign-on our devices, you will then get a message. You will get a message on your phone, on your primary device, that says somebody is trying to access your Windows, especially if you use Outlook like we do. Someone access your Windows, that is where the security policy changes events will now come into play, because it wants to be sure that you are the one that is doing all of those maneuverings. Let me use that phrase. Okay. Then you have our application logs that actually contain specific events that are pertaining to a particular application. So maybe you're using your Word document, you're using your like I'm using my PowerPoint now, and it was trying to make me look funny. Those are the things that your application logs would take notice of. And if there's any errors, there's any updates, any changes you make to that application, it logs it. Okay, as long as you are dealing with that application, whether you are dealing with it from the point of view of maybe updating it, which is not interactive with the application, or you're dealing with, like I'm dealing with my PowerPoint right now, where I am using it to present my slides, it's going to note all of these things and have a record of it somewhere. Then we have the audit logs. Now, this ones actually have like detailed information about any change you have made to your systems at any point in time. And I promise you, including that time when you can change your RAM, it's in that audit log. When you went to change your ROM, oh, I bought this laptop and it came with a 256 gig ROM SSD. I want to change it to a 1 terabyte SSD. It logged it. I promise you, it logged it. Maybe at some point you opened your drive in this place and you made your OneDrive directly back up some of your files. It logged it. Okay, if at some point you changed your password from being a regular password to being proper password, it logged that event. That's what an audit log is. Because the goal of this is to ensure that at the end of the day, if there's any issue with compliance, the audit log will tell them that, oh no, Josephine was proper when it came to compliance, or Ade was proper when it came to compliance, or Oluyemi was proper when it came to ensuring that he did not make mistakes with the changes he made in his device, right? Then we have the network logs, which is going to be our focus for today, that actually provide information on what is going on with your network, whether it's going or coming traffic. And what I mean by your network is that both the one that your Wi-Fi is interacting with and the one that your device is interacting with. So whatever browser or web page you went to whilst using your device is going to be logged here, and it logs everything. I promise you, whether in your Windows or in your normal device, your other devices, it logs everything. As long as you are using the same Wi-Fi, everything gets kept a record of. The goal of this is to ensure that if at any point you need to analyze traffic that came and went, you have somewhere to go, right? If at any point you need to check for, okay, around 2 a.m., somebody moved some money, right? Or somebody sent a confidential file, but we can't seem to find who, what happened after, because maybe the person erased or deleted the traces of it in their normal device. The logs will tell a tale. The logs will tell a story. Oh, at 5 o'clock, Oluyemi sent information to Hafiz, and when Oluyemi clocked out of his workstation around 2 a.m., somebody used Oluyemi's what's it called, workstation, but not even in Oluyemi's house, because we have his house, his IP address where his house is. Now, somebody now used it in Hong Kong or in Iraq or in Iran to send information that Josephine didn't need to have, or that Violet didn't need to have, to Violet, that Violet is in Palestine. That is a trigger, that's a problem. Because why is Oluyemi sending information to Violet in Iraq or Palestine? Why? What for? These logs tell that story and help the security engineers and the security analysts know that there's a problem somewhere and know where to start looking for the problem from. Right? So that's like the end goal of the network logs, to tell the tale of your interaction with the internet. Right? Then you have the access logs, which actually tell you, okay, what did you access? Where did you go? Did you go to the API? Did you go to the database, that back end? Did you interact with the web server? What did you interact with the server for? What were you asking from the web server? Amongst other things. All right. Now, these different logs have different formats. Okay, when you come into our program in analytics, we'll teach you about the formats, about the standards, and there's so many different things that we look at when we're reviewing logs, amongst other things. We would give you an insight into what these logs do, what they mean, how they work, and how to analyze them like in depth. But today we're going to be analyzing some of these logs and seeing how we interact with them using specific tools and other ways to do it. All right, even built-in tools. Now, how are we going to do that today? We're going to be working for a corporation called Zero Health. Now, Zero Health Core is a leading healthcare provider that has recently observed that they have anomalies in their network, right? Now, we all know that when your device starts to turn itself off and on, there's a problem, right? When you start to see that a file you saved yesterday that you are sure that you created, maybe a sensitive folder or file that has important information, just suddenly disappears. Something wrong somewhere. Either somebody on the inside is sabotaging you, or somebody on the outside is in your space and you don't know. Right? Now, we all know that if either of these scenarios occurs, then there might be a potential cybersecurity breach. Am I right? Because if your device is shutting itself up, or you are losing data that you did not delete by yourself, there's a problem either about to happen or that already happened, right? So now that you have that understanding, as a cybersecurity analyst, you have been asked, okay, please come and work for us and help us to look at our network and security logs and help us to detect, investigate, and understand the possible threat activities that are occurring before we start to hear, oh, patient data have disappeared or critical systems are no longer available, right? Now, this organization obviously handles highly sensitive information such as EMRs, prescription data, patient billing information, financial information, and that makes them a prime target for ransomware attacks, which is where attackers will come in, gain access to your environment, lock the owners of the environment out, and ask for payment before they release that environment. Right? Then data theft, right? Obviously, somebody moves something out or moves something in, and unauthorized access, which is obviously like the most important and most dangerous part of this entire thing. Now, how are we going to do this? First and foremost, we are going to use a tool called Wireshark, and we're going to be doing a step-by-step analysis where we're going to be looking at the logs that have been sent to us by Zero Health Core. And the purpose of looking at the logs is to look for people that are sending a lot of information. We call them broad talkers. Okay, what that means is that, you know that I told you before that for every time you interact with the internet, there's a record somewhere, right? Is that record now, that's log that we have been sent to use to analyze their traffic, right? To analyze their security logs, analyze anything that has to do with Zero Health. Now, in analyzing this traffic, we will now realize that, okay, some people are sending a lot of information or receiving a lot of information. What's going on there? Okay, then we'll now look for odd IPs. IP addresses are the way we use to identify people in our network traffic, okay, or identify devices in our network traffic. Now, IP addresses are similar to your house addresses. So let's say, for instance, I'm in my house right now, right? I'm having a session with us. My IP address is maybe 192.168.1. Maybe 3. If I carry my PC right now and I enter my car and I drive to, maybe I drive to another state, instead it's too far, safe. I go to another street or go to another house or go to the house next door. That's how funny the IP address is. I go to the house next door, the IP address changes because it uses geolocation and a series of things that will teach you when you come into the program, right, to identify where you are. So it's basically saying this is the address at which you will find Violet. This is the address at which you would find Afiz. This is the address at which you find Josephine. Okay. Now we will now look for these odd IPs that don't match all the other IP addresses that we have in our traffic that are sending in or taking out large data. Okay, then we'll now see if we can find potential credential theft. What I mean by that is that a lot of times with this tool that we call Wireshark, if at any point you are interacting with a vulnerable website or a website that steals your data, usually they are not encrypted. So that means that we will then be able to see on our own device your username and your password if you interact with that website that we have already told you is unsafe, right? Then we also look for suspicious DNS requests. DNS requests are domain name server request. That is, why are you going to that domain? What are you going to do there? Maybe we can't ban you from going to TikTok whilst at work, right? And we see that every 5 minutes, Oluyemi is on TikTok. Oluyemi is doing what's that Sierra challenge? I can't remember the song. I really don't watch TikTok like that, but you get my point. And then maybe we even check and we see that Afiz is on Facebook like a lot of times during the day. It will show up on our log files and our events, right? We'll also check potentially for maybe there's somebody sending something through a pipeline, okay? And all the logs that have been sent to us carry the information that pertains to different types of interactions with their network environment. We then go ahead and check for if we see any URLs that end with a .exe, which is like an execution file, or a BAT file, or a PS1 file that tend to talk about how they pull in scripts that have to do with malicious software, right? You know about malwares, right? Malwares are malicious softwares that focus on either impacting the environment they are working within negatively or stealing information from that environment. And then we'll go and check for what we call command and control agents, which are basically how, for instance, somebody opens what we call it a tunnel on your end that allows them to see into your space without your knowledge. So they are seeing what you're doing in your space without being in your space physically, and they are interacting with your environment consistently, but you don't know. So all of these things are the things I'm going to be checking for in the logs that are being sent to us by Zero Health Corp. All right. Now, I'd like us to get to before we even go too far, I'd like us to see how we can interact with logs on the different devices. Give me a minute, please. Let me adjust my screen so that I can share it properly. All right, let me see the chat before I go into the active part of our session real quick. Okay. Amazing, amazing. All right, now that we understand what we're doing and why we're doing what we do, we are going to go and look at different ways through which security analysts like us would analyze traffic. Okay, first and foremost, the first thing we'd like to do, I'd like us to try here interactively is to click on, I believe we're all using a Windows machine, right? Like a Windows laptop. Am I correct? I'd like responses, please. Are we all using a Windows laptop, please? Okay, thank you, Afiz. All right, if you are, I'd like you to click on your, I believe you can see my screen, so I'm going to, yes, let me do this. Beautiful. Now I'd like you to click on your Windows icon. If you're not, whatever machine you're using, I believe Windows is the easiest one to explain this part of our journey, right? So whatever you're using is fine, but if you're using a Windows, just click on the Windows icon on your keyboard, and here just type Event Viewer. Okay, now click on this and work with me. All right, can you see what I'm looking at? Can you all see my event viewer? Now we use this tool to look through logs that pull up in our Windows environment. And how do we do this? We do this in a multiple of ways. We first of all, see if you look here, you see that we have event viewer for my local device, but then we have custom views, we have Windows logs, we have application and services logs, and then we have subscriptions. Okay, but for the course of this journey, we're going to look at the Windows logs so I can quickly go through what's going on here. All right. Now, first and foremost, you want to look at applications. Okay, so we have applications in our system. Remember I mentioned application logs earlier, right? We have this here in our Windows event viewer. We have our security logs as well. We have our setup logs, we have our system logs, and we have forwarded events. You can, at your own, at your own convenience, come and review this later. But when you come into our program, we will actually teach you enough to navigate this space and understand what you're looking at. All right. So this is basically how a typical Windows events log looks like. Okay. Now, if you look at it, you see we have overview, we have summary of events, we have recently viewed nodes, we have log summary. What all of this does for the viewer is to show them exactly what is going on per time with a specific type of log. Now, I'd like us to go to, I think we should use security logs. Yeah, let's use security logs. We can actually use anyone. We can use application logs. We can use security logs. I believe that anyone you choose at all is still going to show information as long as you are able to filter your logs to find what you're looking for in particular. If you look here, you see that after every phrase event, there is a number. Okay, this number is referred to as the event ID. Okay. Now, this helps us to know exactly what we're supposed to be looking at. If you look at event ID, for instance, it says my Microsoft SQL Express. I have that device on my PC, and it says that it was interacted with in recent times. You see that 31st of, that is today, and it tells you a little bit of story, and you can read through it. Okay, you can read that. You can look at the details and read through what's going on here and understand what might have occurred in your space. Okay, now this is for applications, right? Now we have Microsoft security logs, right? And here you notice that it has a specific event that has been highlighted. If you look here, it's highlighting a particular event. It says audit is successful. If I click another one, it shows you something else, similar but not the exact same thing. It shows you something else per time. If you look at the event ID, it keeps changing per log I select. Am I correct? Are we together, please? This is just in your Windows. This is how we analyze or we look for logs in our Windows environment. All right, thank you, thank you. Okay, now how do we then filter to look for a specific log in our environment, right? Now let's say if we want to check, okay, when last was a user created in our space? Okay, we then come to this all event IDs, which we don't want to do. We then use, okay, so for you to know if a user was created recently, you want to use the ID 4720. That shows you, what's what I'm looking for now? It shows you logs that pertain to user creation, like a new user created or not. This ID would show you that information. All right, now that we have selected our specific ID that we want to view, we then click it on here and it says, oh, there are no new users being created here at any point in time. But then if I if I clear my filter, it shows me that, oh, I was auditing my Windows very recently, and the ID number is 5379. Now, if at any point in time somebody else had created a new user in our space, when I use my filter to filter through the current log, because it's the current logs, right? And I put in that particular event ID, it will come up here and show that somebody at some point had interacted with our device and pulled and created a new user on this space. Now, this audit that I just showed you now is saying that, oh, I was trying to check for a particular thing that is auditing my space at about 8:49 p.m. today, right? This is to show the time that I, the admin, interacted with my logs. All right. The goal of this is to ensure that as long as it's admin, I can access this. If you're coming from a guest profile, you cannot typically access this because it asks you, do you want to run as administrator? And if you say yes while you're using the guest profile, you're required to put in the password of the administrator, right? So that means that only the owner of this ordinarily should be able to access these logs. Do you understand? That's how we actually would interact with our Windows environment, looking at the different events, IDs, and understanding what is going on with that event. So if at all maybe an attacker created a new user in your space, it will show up when you put that particular ID in the space. All right. Enough of this. I'd like us to go into our what's it called? I'd like us to go into our virtual machine and work with our virtual tool. Now, like I was telling you before, we have a large number of this. We have a large number of tools that we can use for log auditing, log analyzing, and log, basically what it analyzing, parsing, normalizing, and so many big phrases that we explain to you when you come into our program. All right. Now we have what we call WASO. WASO is a CM tool, that is a security, incident and event management tool that allows us to understand what is going on in our environment per time. So you can have as much as 64, 255 devices on your WASO manager at a server at any point in time. It's like when you have a big company, you have different devices in that company, you are able to use your WASO tool to take records of the happenings on all the devices that are in your network per time without having to go to each device one by one and check the event viewer. All right. So it sends all the logs, and whether you have a firewall, whether you have a what's the word I'm looking for now? Whether you have a firewall, whether you have a console, whatever it is that you have, you can send all this information to tools like Wazor, like Microsoft Sentinel, like what's the other one again? Like Splunk. Do you understand? There's like that number of these CM tools that help you to collect all these logs and clean them up. We call it normalizing, right? So that you're just seeing the proper events as it is, the way you are seeing the event viewer without going to that specific event. We also have Security Onion that has like a large number of different CM tools that you can run from this specific virtual machine. But today we're going to be using our Wireshark tool that we find in our Kali. Now, when you come into our program, we will teach you and explain to you how to use tools like Kali, tools like Security Onion, tools like Wazor, like a firewall called PFSense, and among other firewalls, like even the inbuilt firewalls that come with your actual devices. Because I promise you, Windows has its own firewall, Defender, right? And Kali Linux environments have their own firewalls too, right? We teach you how to interact with all of these tools to enjoy the experience of safeguarding your organization's environment. All right. Now, we have two ways through which we can use our tool. This is called a CLI, as it's a command line interface. All right. So we can interact with our tool from the command line interface, where we just type the name of the tool and it pulls up the tool for us. And then we can come to our application here and type the name here, and we just click it and start the application like we do in a typical Windows environment. All right. Amazing. Now that we have understood that, I'd like us to look at what Wireshark can do just quickly. Okay. Now, Wireshark is an amazing tool. It's a fun tool. It's an analyzer. Doesn't have two names. It's an analyzer. It's straightforward, straight to the point kind of tool, right? Now, what Wireshark does for you is that it can do two things. It can capture your traffic live. So what I mean by that is this. If I click on this and I click on capture, this is basically an interface. This is my Wi-Fi right now. And this is saying any and all Wi-Fis that are or internet connections that are up and available. Once I can see this squiggly line here, it means that there is traffic running through it. So I can click on this to capture the traffic and go ahead and analyze it. All right. If I want to say, okay, help me capture only the traffic that are passing through unencrypted channels, I would come here, impute a filter like HTTP, which is the protocol that we use in the internet, which is like the backbone of the internet, as HTTP, as hypertext transfer protocol, or the secured version, which is HTTPS, and use that to go ahead and capture that specific traffic on the what's it called, on the Wi-Fi. I can even say, okay, I want to target a particular IP address. Let's say, for instance, we all work in the same organization, right? And you are the security analyst, and they tell you that, I feel like Prince is an insider threat. He might be feeding information to, maybe we work in Coca-Cola, and you're saying Prince feeding information to somebody in Pepsi. How are you sure? I'm sure. Okay, Wireshark can allow you to come here, right? And then impute the filter host and put Prince's IP address. Okay, you can put his IPv4 address, IPv6 address. We'll explain these things to you when you come into the class. But basically, you put a specific IP address, and this capture would target only the traffic that Prince is interacting with and show it to you, and then you can save it and go and analyze it later. That's how awesome this particular tool is. Okay, another great thing about this tool is that it also allows you to look at sent over captured packets and analyze them at your own leisure. Okay, so if you look at my screen here, you see that I have capture. Like I said, I have to capture traffic live, and then I have open that allows me to open a file on my file system and go ahead and see what it is about. So for today, we're going to be quickly reviewing the logs that were sent to us by Zero Health to see what is going on in their space. Now, if you look here, it sends me directly into the original Wireshark folder, but no, I did save the folder sent to me in that space. So I'm going to be going to my downloads folder to look for, and the beauty of Wireshark is that it's going to only show you either folders or files that are specific to packets or traffic or logs, right? If you look at my result when I open my downloads, it showed access logs, right? It showed a specific protocol which is called ARP, which is address resolution protocol, the pickup file for that, the packet capture file for that, and then it goes on to show another saved packet file, and then it shows this particular one that has Zero Health Worry, which is the HTTP traffic with pictures being sent, which means that somebody might have been taking screenshots along the way and sending it to an external person, right? So they are worried. They're like, what's going on? Why is somebody sending information across our network to an external IP address and including pictures? What pictures are you taking and sending to an external person? All right, so they send this to us and tell us, oh, hi, Oluwatobi and her team, which includes Josephine, Violet, and everybody on this call. Please go ahead and help us to analyze this traffic. So what do? We open that file. And when we open that file, it starts to show us these things that look like, oh, this is confusing. I promise you, it's not confusing. All right, let me quickly do a walkthrough for you of what Wireshark is about. So Wireshark is basically, like I said before, an analyzing tool that allows you to look at, these are what we call packets. So all these lines and stuff are what we call packets. All right. If you look at this, you realize that as I am clicking different packets, it's changing on this side and on this side, right? Because the information contained in the different parts are actually consistently different. All right. Amazing. Okay, now that we understand that a little bit, I believe that when we come into our sessions in our classes, we'll teach a proper and in-depth analysis of Wireshark, the tool itself, and then work with it on a project to better understand how to use Wireshark. But quickly, let me show you what I'm looking at. So you're looking at this side of our screen where I have my mouse moving around. It's called the packet listing panel. It's the top panel. Okay, it's where you see all of the packets, the time in which they were gotten, and where they were gotten from, which is the source, and the destination which they were sent to, and what type of protocol, what type of way was this packet sent, and then information attached to that packet. So was it sent over port? Okay, this tells you about the port it was sent to. This is port 311, 3177, and port 80 and port 80. So port 80 tells you that this is sent over the internet. Port 3177 is sent over the internet, but in a different and a hidden space, so that the original owners of information will not know that somebody is sending out information from their space, which is already telling you a tale that you were looking for to start with. All right. That's for listing, sorry. So what it does is just give you a quick overview of the captured traffic. Now on this side, we have what we call the packet details panel. Okay, now this panel is basically what shows you the proper details. Like it breaks down the packets you're looking at into details. So if you see I entered this place down, and if you look here, it says this is my 6th packet. It was sent in less than 1 second. It was sent from this IP address and sent to this IP address and sent over HTTP, right? Insecure traffic, okay? And it was sent, it was successfully sent, because once you see a 200, okay, it's a request method that tells you that whatever you were trying to do was successful, okay? Now, if I come to the packet details side, you see that it tells me in details what was going on, how big was what was sent, how big was what was received, right? It tells me the size, which are things that we look out for when we're checking for malware and different things. Am I right? Am I right, please? Yes, MSN. I don't know if MSN is your name, but I wish you could give me your proper name. But yes, we actually provide you with tools and we show you how to use the tools. We don't just provide you with tools alone. We actually actively show you how to use those tools. So we won't tell you, oh, we're going to be interacting with PFSense, for instance, a firewall. We show you how to download the tools into your space. We even give you a walkthrough of how to properly install that tool. We do a review session. We call it a catch-up session on ensuring that the tool is working well in your space, because we'll tell you what devices would work well for our program, what as you are getting onboarded. Like, it's a proper, like, we don't play when we come to enabling our participants. We do not play. Okay, so don't worry, we have your back and we don't let it go. Okay. So the thing at the end of the day is that when you look at this particular packet I have highlighted and you come to this side, you see that it tells us exactly what time it left from the source and what time it got to the destination. It tells you the packet length, it has in the size of that packet in plain English. It also tells you the destination. Okay, what are they using? What are they using in that space? What kind of network are they interacting with? It's an SMC network. Where was it sent for? Okay, we are the ones that have KYE, right? We identify as KYE on our network or with our ISP. So this is us, and this is our recipient, right? Tells you that it was sent to an IPv4 address. So you know that the address you're looking for is in a particular format. That's the first information you get from this port. Then it tells you more details about how long it took for that information to get where it was going. And we'll teach about all of these things in the networking class, where we'll talk about the time to leave and those informations, right? Then it tells you the port, the entry points, as in which gates did they come in through? Which gate did they exit from, right? Was it a complete conversation? Yes. Everything was sent. It was a complete, there was no break in transmission. That means that it wasn't stopped halfway through. So that means it was not a brute force attack. So the things that we look at as analyzers to check, okay, did the interaction complete? Was it complete? Yes. If it was complete, then it was not a brute force attack. That means somebody was trying to actually access our space, not force their way into our space, right? Then when we confirm that, we can then go and check, okay, was it, what other thing can we see from here? We can see that there were flags, there were different things sent. It was a TCP payload, which means that it was sent through a secure type of ensuring that the data came in through completely, right? And then it tells us here that, oh, it used HTTP. And HTTP, I told you before, we have different request methods. They tell a story by themselves. So if you see a status code 200, for instance, it's telling you that whatever you were trying to create or send was properly done. If you see a 300, it tells you that whatever they're trying to do there was redirected to somewhere else. So they did not actually get the answer they're looking for on the page they typed in their web browser. They were sent to a different page. All right. Now, if you see a request status code of 400, it means that either they were forbidden, it no longer exists, or they were blocked. And it's from your end, it's from the person that the sender source's end, right? If you see a 500 status code, it says that, it means that, okay, the server they were sending information to is either not existing, is not available, or is not receiving requests at that time. Okay, so this tells a story by itself or in and of itself. Let me use that kind of English. Okay, and then the best part is that it also gives you the IP, what's it called now? I won't call it the IP address. It's called the URI. That is the point where it's going to. So it's sending information to a particular domain or a particular endpoint, which is what you have here, sending it to the 10.1.1.1, which is in this case the router or the main Wi-Fi of the organization. All right. Now, here you have something called line-based text. This is basically showing you what was going on in the web page that whoever was interacting with this web page visited. Okay, it tells its own story. It says, okay, this person's page is actually owned by somebody called Ronnie Salberg's web, right? And if you go through it better and you understand what you're looking at, it tells you a little bit about what's going on. This is just a regular HTTP request response, right? It's not even like a big deal yet. And this is what you're finding in the details panel, right? On this side, we have what we call the bytes panel, or the packet bytes panel, or the encrypted version of your results. Now, why I'm saying encrypted version is because it's not necessarily encrypted all the time. Because if you look at what I'm highlighting right now, you see that it's actually in plain English, right? What I'm highlighting right now, it's also in plain English, and it tells its own story. Let me show you how to read that story properly and how we read that story properly as security analysts. Okay, so we come here and we do what we call follow. We follow a particular stream. Now, following the stream allows you to see all of these plenty stories in easier ways. Okay, so when I follow that stream, you see that like jargon earlier, it now comes across clearly. This thing that looked like it was I was talking to myself earlier now comes across what? Clearly. I'm able to read it properly. So if you read this properly, you see that it tells you exactly where this information was sent to. Okay, so who was sending it? It was sending it from a Windows machine. They're using a Windows NT. So this is their operating system, Windows NT 5.0. They use an Opera browser, right? They browse with they use Mozilla Firefox initially, but they use, you know, when you open your Firefox, you can go to Google from your Firefox, right? So that's what the person did too. And they were interacting with the browser in English. Okay, then it tells you the exact people you're interacting with, which is the host, and tells their IP address. It also tells you, this is information I'm seeing just from analyzing a packet, just one packet. I've not done many packets right now, right? Now, that's just for the beginning. Then it comes and tells me what server they interacted with. It was a Red Hat Linux server that was running a backend on Apache 2.0.4. What that means is that if at all, if I were an attacker, for instance, and I want to attack these people, I only have to go and look for vulnerabilities that are attached to the Apache version 2.0.40. That's all. All right? Now, that's just the beginning. Okay? And this goes on and on and on for different, apologies, please, for the different packets that we have here. Now, the beauty of this is that as much as you think, oh, it's just a little information, it's no big deal, there's filters. Remember I told you about filters earlier, right? There's filters. If I'm looking for a specific information, I say, okay, I want to say, please let me see if Oluyemi sent an image to Violet, for instance. What did Oluyemi send to Violet, right? I can come to statistics and I come to conversations, okay? And I say, let me see the different information that was sent across different areas, okay? Now, what this does for me is I'm able to see, okay, across internet, there was one interaction. When we're dealing with this, there was one interaction. And sending TCP, there was only one interaction. Now, that's because I highlighted a specific, what's it called now? A specific filter, right? I highlighted a TCP filter. If I close this and I go back and I say, okay, I want to see everything, right? I don't want to see a specific filter alone, and I don't highlight anything. And I come back here and I say, tell me what's going on with the entire conversation. You see, now I will tend to see more because I'm not going to be picking only the Ethernet. I'm going to be asking it on this side of my screen to check every possible protocol that I want to view. Not just Ethernet. If I want to look at TCP, I tell it to show me TCP. If I want to look at my SCTP, I tell it, okay, check for SCTP as well. If I want to look for, and then it starts to show up at the top of my screen here. I'm able to see more and more, and then I can actually save it. Okay, I can actually save what I find here and keep it safe. And the funny thing about all of this information is that there's still so much more to do with your Wireshark in terms of finding information about every single interaction on the network of your company, right? And this is just the beginning. Now, for instance, I can say, okay, I really don't want to talk to too many people. I've gone through this information. I don't want to go through too many what's it called? too many packets. It sounds like it's a lot. I want to just see a specific packet and see what's going on with it. I can just come here and say, okay, walk me through what is going on with this particular packet. Let me see the TCP part of this packet and see what goes on here. And I press enter and it gives me just the TCP files, right? Just the TCP files and says, oh, you have a lot, it's quite a lot. No need to waste your time or stress yourself. And I say, okay, instead of TCP files, give me a specific IP address. Okay, I want to see if I can see what Prince was doing with let me see. I also what Prince was doing with Oluyemi, for instance. And in my research, I found that Oluyemi has this IP address on this space. And when it turns green, it shows me that it actually exists, right? And if I come here, it says, oh, it has fragmented IP protocol, which means at some point, they actually broke the conversation. Like they were sending it in bits and pieces and little information was going across in my internet. And I did not notice, right? And then I come here and I see a post. I see a post, what's it called? Interaction, which means that somebody sent out something or sent in something. Now, if you look at the end of this information, it says .xacp, which is one of the things I'm looking for when we look about looking for potential malware being uploaded into our space, right? Now, the cause of this is that we're able to realize that, oh, wow, somebody at some point actually sent in malware into our space. And how are we sure it was malware? We can come here and check the size of the information sent. Now, if you compare this size to what we had earlier, is it bigger or smaller? Who can help me with it? What we had earlier when we were interacting with a regular or a simple HTTP request, does this, what's it called, packet look bigger or smaller? Does it look bigger or smaller, guys? Look at the size compared to what we had earlier. Let me highlight something else and we can see. Okay, look at this size. You have 480 bits, right? Now, if I come here and I highlight this particular thing, it's gone bigger by almost times 10, right? Which means that it is heavy. And when you notice heavy conversations, cause conversations, right? When you say heavy conversations, it means that something happened. Either was uploaded or was downloaded, right? And because of the end of this particular information that we are seeing here, we know that it was potentially a malware that was sent, most likely sent in. You can see through this, he said it was sent from this space into our space, then that with that particular environment, and let's scroll down. This is where it was taken from, which means that somebody in our team purposefully went to that particular website. Most likely, maybe they were the Opera browser and they saw all these pop-ups, all these adverts, and they clicked on something there. And in clicking on that advert, the advert on its own downloaded a malware into our environment. Because obviously they might not have even known it was a malware, right? Because we have adware, we have spyware, we have Trojans. So an application pretending to be what it is not, right? And the funniest part is that you would think that, oh, it should be no big deal. But I promise you, it's actually a very, very big deal. Because at the end of the day, you realize that they were probably interacting with something they should have not interacted with, which is probably an advert whilst they were maybe reading the news or checking something, right? And if you look at the IP addresses from before, we interacted with 10 point something multiple times. All of a sudden, our person started interacting with this 209.225.11.237, which is what we were referring to. We said odd IPs in our network. Because if you go through this network, you see that it was supposed to be mostly 10.something, right? But at some point, we found this particular IP and they interacted with it, and we're able to see that something was going wrong whilst they were interacting with that specific IP, right? Now, we go ahead and analyze it further, and we will find information about this. We can even see about, okay, what if we want to check for domain names, right? Instead of checking for this regular IP address, we're going to do a DNS check. Sorry. Thank you. DNS check. We don't have any specific DNS that we want to check here, so we're good. There's no DNS traffic here to worry about. So that means there was no suspicious requests across our domains. It's easy for us to just calm down and relax. Now, I want to check for command and control, like we talked about earlier. Usually, this is done over a port called port 44444, right? So we can say TCP, yes, TCP port this, but we then go ahead and change this. We can say, just check on port 1234, right? If at any point there was that type of command and control in our space, it will show up here. Okay. Now, the beauty of this is that because nothing is showing up here, we know that there is no attacker in the environment of Zero Health just yet. Okay. So we feel a little bit safer. They are probably trying to attack, but they haven't gained access just yet. So we can relax a little bit on behalf of Zero Health. All right. Now that we understand how we typically analyze logs of our traffic or our network traffic using Wireshark, I know that we have an understanding of some things that we want to tell Zero Health to do or not to do in interacting with their internet, right? In dealing with externals and internals, right? So I'm going to be asking a few questions now based off of what we have learned so far. And I really, really appreciate if I got answers from everyone here. Okay. Now, hi Ade, hi Samuel, hi Dolapo, hi Josephine, Violet, Joy. You are the cybersecurity analyst, right? And you have been able to successfully analyze some of the traffic that we have we took from Zero Health Core, right? We've been able to see and know that, okay, there's a problem somewhere and we need to fix it on their behalf, right? Now, what would you recommend they do based on what we've seen so far, right? We see that, oh, at some point in their journey, they had somebody pretend to be them, but this is that you're seeing here that another instance was had to do with somebody duplicating their IP address. You see the result here, it's saying it here, that somebody duplicated the IP address of the organization at some point. So they were not just battling only people sending out information or pulling information into their space. They were dealing with somebody trying to eavesdrop on their conversation, on their interaction with the internet in their organization, right? Which is where the ARP comes in. I remember mentioning earlier to us about address request protocol that helps us to find specific people, right? So this is another attack that probably was about to happen or happening in their space, that somebody was trying to pretend to be their routers to somebody in their system and back and forth like that. Okay, when you come into our program, we'll definitely walk you through how this works and what it means in proper details. But before we spend so much time talking about what it means in proper details, I'd like us to tell me from what we've learned so far. All right, what would you recommend that Zero Health does to ensure that some of these happenings don't occur again? Like, for instance, we were able to find broad talkers, right? We were able to see plain text post requests. We did not find any suspicious DNS requests, so we consider that a good thing. But we also were able to spot malware downloads. Am I correct? We found suspicious user agent headers as well, but we're thankful that we did not see any command and control within their network. Now, based off of this, what would you tell Zero Health to do? Just without using any big terms or anything, what's the first thing you tell them to do? If you were you, like you're the one working with them and you're saying, oh, I found out that your people are sending information out. Just top of your head, what's the first thing you would tell them to do? I'm waiting for answers, please. What would you ask Zero Health to do? I'm waiting. I'm not looking for technical. Thank you. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you. Control access. Yes. Deny hotspot traffic. Update the antivirus. Thank you, Scarface. I don't know your name is Scarface, but thank you. Yes, yes. Because if people are not access like that randomly, there will not be this many ways that people are sending information out and sending information in. There will be like ballast. You can see it immediately and all. What other things we tell them to do as from what you have learned or seen so far within their logs? What other things we tell them to do as an organization, right? Remember that they're having issues and anomalies in their traffic, right? And we have seen a lot of anomalies. Am I correct? Am I correct? What other things would you recommend they do? Yes, check the IPs, block those IPs. Thank you, Joy. Cheers, improve their physical and technical security. I love my people. I love the people I'm working with today. You all are amazing. You all are awesome. Now, this may seem like it is magic, or it may seem like, oh, like Josephine said earlier, what exactly are logs? Are they issues? Right? They may seem like, oh, this is something that somebody has to be extra technical or extra skilled at to be able to do. But I promise you, yeah, with the help of analytics, this is going to be like a walk in the park for you. I believe my colleagues, yes, improve of IDS and IPS. That's intrusion detection systems and intrusion prevention systems. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you. You've been amazing. Well done. Okay, so like I was saying, my colleagues are dropping a form in the chat. Please, I'd like you to fill it so that you can have access to this session after the session, so that you're able to access the recordings and the extra resources that we are working with for this session, right? Another thing I also want us to understand is that everything I've taught us so far started from somewhere, right? And it will have a continuation, right? Now, you can only enjoy that when you understand how to gain access to this program, right? So I'm going to be inviting my colleague to walk us through how to gain access to this program and do it seamlessly and effortlessly. So please give it up for my colleague, Prince, so that I can take us through the rest of this session. Hi, Prince.
Hi, Oluwatobi.
I'm sorry I took
Thank
out of
you.
your time. Yeah, please go
No,
ahead.
no, no, no. I believe that if my people that are on the chat board that are dropping the chat, Joshua, Josephine, if they could talk, trust me, they will tell you how interesting it has been. And trust me, because I was here and it is actually looking pretty interesting. Oluyemi said I registered and starting by 9th of August. That should tell you how interesting
Nice.
that all these things is.
Nice.
So
I'm
trust me, I
excited.
believe they also do have a short time going through the
Yes.
session with you. And trust me, these are part of the things that we are looking to impact into you coming
Mm-hmm.
into Analytics. Because when you're looking at everything that Oluwatobi just did, what she just did was she worked with a company's project.
Mm-hmm.
Company's project that Encourage me that you're going to learn exactly how to actually get to do it by yourself. Okay, these are the things you get to learn. And when you're getting to learn how to be a cybersecurity, and remember when she started, Josephine asked, what are logs? Are they issues? Are they threats? What exactly are they? And by the time she was able to explain it, I think I saw a comment in the box, like chat box, I said, a very fantastic explanation. That is the same way your training are going to be. Get to work on real life projects. And when you work on these projects, you'll be able to learn exactly how to solve real world problems as a cybersecurity analyst. And when you're looking at what are the things, what are the tools, what are the skill sets you need to become a cybersecurity analyst, what you're looking at is you agree with me that the cybersecurity is pretty robust. What we just looked at today is using Wireshark, which is one part of being a cybersecurity analyst. But the program itself, what it's going to give to you is going to teach you, number one, how to be what we call a penetration tester. These are people that test for vulnerabilities within a network of organization to make sure that it is secured. You agree with me that I think a very good example of what that means is consciously or unconsciously, as we are Africans, when we lock our doors at night, before we say we want to go to bed, after locking the door, unconsciously you pry the door open to see, is this thing locked? That is exactly you performing penetration testing. You are checking if, oh, so if anybody tries to shake this door, will it open or is it locked? Is it secured enough? If it's not secured enough, if you probably pry the door open and it give way to your hand, what you're going to do next day is you're getting the carpenter to come and fix it or the welder to come and weld it. You're fixing that door. This is penetration testing. You learn different approach on how to test for vulnerabilities within the network of an organization. And when you identify these vulnerabilities, you also learn how to draft your report, make reports and recommendations on how to get them fixed. Then, by the time you're done with that, you have experience enough to get yourself a job as a penetration tester under cybersecurity. Same under the same cybersecurity, what my colleague just walked you through, walking through Wireshark, you will learn how to use Wireshark to analyze different network analysis to be able to identify what exactly is going on. What she just showed you is one part, which is not analysis. There's a lot of other parts attached to you working as a SOC analyst, whereby you identify vulnerabilities even before they tend to happen. These are the things you get to do under being a SOC analyst, and you get to learn all these things on when you go through the cybersecurity program, as you can see in the key learning area that is showing on your screen. Then you also have what we call, there's an aspect of cybersecurity that is not as technical, and that aspect is the governance, risk, and compliance. What they are more concerned about is they want to create security compliance whereby everybody within the organization follow to make sure that you don't go across board or put either yourself or the organization at a point whereby it's not going to be favorable. But for you to actually be able to scale and be more proficient in this area, you need knowledge around, so as a SOC analyst that is working in their department, you need knowledge about what they're doing so that you'll be able to understand exactly how to guide. Because if you don't have knowledge about what anybody is doing in their department, it's going to be difficult for you to say you're drafting a policy to guide them. But when you have knowledge about what they're doing, you'll be able to easily create policy and create a security awareness about whatever that is going on within the organization and help them scale. And when you're looking at the training structure, you have a total duration of 8 months to learn how to be a fantastic cybersecurity analyst. And when you're looking at the 8 months, you have 6 months in class, so you get to work on projects. Just like my colleague just showed you, you work on multiple projects. That is the way you learn with analytics. You never come into the class and you will see Oluwatobi, who is going to be your instructor, telling you, so you have to read a particular publication on threads. I have to read something about. No, none of that. You're coming into class and you're working on projects. Just the same way that she was able to walk you through this particular project, I'm sure by the time you work on 3, 4 more projects on log analysis, you will not be a novice. And this is exactly how you get to learn. And the fact about it is, when you work on projects, this thing that she did now, if you try it yourself, you might make mistakes. But guess what? She's always readily available to attend to questions, issues that you might have, or something you are doing it and you hit a roadblock. She's there, she's available to help you learn from these roadblocks and have 100% knowledge about what you're doing. This is what you get to do for 6 months. By the time you're done with it in 6 months, you have a very solid experience and solid knowledge that you'll be able to take into your internship. Your internship now goes for 2 months where you get to work on real world projects. And the value of all these things you're working on is you have ability to add all the projects, both the ones you did in class and the one you must have done during your internship. You have ability to add them to your portfolio. So when you're looking to apply to a job and they ask you about, let's say, how you're able to avoid any sort of intended attack that is going to happen within an organization, what did you do? You're not going to come and be telling them, oh, so I did this, I did. No. Rather, you will show them what you did with Wireshark, just like Oluwatobi has been able to show us today. All right. You actually be able to show them, so I did this, this is what I did. And doing this was able to help us save us from having this issue. You actually be able to show. And that's what your portfolio will be able to give to you. All right. And it might seem like, oh, this might seem a little bit too much for us to do. Trust me, this is not our first rodeo. Like you heard Oluwatobi said, we've been at this for 5 years and we'll have loads of students that have been able to go through a cybersecurity program and they'll even be able to get a job while in training. Like, for example, at Datayo, this particular gentleman over here, he was able to get a job in cybersecurity even while still in training. And if your guess is as good as mine, The only reason why he was able to get a job while still in training was because all the projects, all the learning curve, all the things he was learning, they were all project based and giving him hands-on experience to be able to work, apply to job, and actually be able to showcase the skills of getting the job done. And this is something you'll be able to do by the time you join the program. Like 2 months into the program, you have ability to start applying to job as a cybersecurity analyst. Now, trust me, see everything Oluwatobi talked about and I talked about in your key learning area. All these are just 50% of what we tend to offer you. Just 50%. The other 50% is what we call the employability skills. Now, your employability skills is more or less going to weaponize your technical skills to make sure that you are able to get a job. And when we are talking about employability, what does it mean? It means you having a fantastic CV that will represent you as a cybersecurity analyst. There is a difference between the CV you use to apply to a job as a penetration tester. You will not take that same CV to apply to a job as a SOC analyst. No, you will not do that. So you learn how to tailor your CV, even though you have experience in this space, you will learn how to tailor your CV to each job you're looking to apply to. Then you also have a fantastic LinkedIn, right? You have a fantastic LinkedIn that you'll be able to leverage on to apply to jobs that you don't even know that are existing. Then you have what we call navigating the job market, where we have access to premium job boards and be able to get access to these jobs, apply to them 100% without even paying anybody anything. You get to apply to this job directly from your classroom because we script them and we had them to your Google Classroom. So you can apply to them 100% without paying anybody anything. Then when you apply to jobs, the least we expect is get a job, get called for an interview. And you have interview preparation where you have a professional, like for example, you apply to a SOC analyst role and you're looking to attend an interview and you have ability to book a one-on-one session, it's going to be Oluwatobi that will prepare you for that particular role you're looking to go for. She's a senior cybersecurity analyst. So whatever question they're looking to ask you in that interview, she knows it and she'll be able to walk you through how to present your answers, how to answer your questions, and how to ace that particular interview. These are things that we provide away from all the technicalities that you're going to learn in the class. Then when you get a job, we'll be able to also offer you what we call job reference letters. And also we have something we call on-the-job support. As the word says, on-the-job support, meaning you've gotten the job, but one way or the other, there are some things they ask you to do or they need you to do that, but you don't really know how to go about it. All you need to do is just reach out to us and we'll have a professional reach out to you, get on board with you and help you solve your problem or guide you on how to solve that particular problem. Then you have what we call a weekly mentorship session. I saw in the chat box, the name skipped my head. Somebody said, are you going to provide all the tools we're going to use? The answer to that, which I believe Oluwatobi also answered, is yes. You'll be getting access to install all these tools on your laptop. Then you also be getting a mentorship session that actually happens every week. It happens every Thursday, right? So you get access to professionals, top professionals that have been in this industry for a very long time. You bring them into your classes and they give you this insider's look, insider's secret onto what you should do and how you should go about doing it to make sure that you are way above every other person looking to transition or even in this space. These are the things you get access to. Therefore, people looking to upskill, to be able to offer their services more on a freelance platform, you have the session where we call Upwork Optimization, where you learn how to set up your profile and offer your services to individuals same in that particular manner. And trust me, this is something that we've been doing for a very long time, and we have lots of students that have been going through it. So you have the ability. Just make sure that the form that my colleagues are dropping in the chat box, you complete it if you're joining for the first time, so that you get access to the recorded video. So everything Oluwatobi did is recorded and is going to be added. It's going to be sent to your email. So make sure you complete the form. This particular slide that I'm using also, make sure you complete the form so that you'll be able to get both the video and this particular slide where you can get to watch, even you can get to watch Aditayo's video, which is over here. You get to watch his video and you get to hear what he has to say. about the training. Now, you might be wondering, what next? How exactly do I get skill? I heard Olubumi in the chat said, oh, I've already registered for the program. Fantastic. So how exactly do you take the next step to register for that same particular program? And I'll tell you that the next cohort is starting by 9th of August. So all you have to do is register and start your journey to becoming a cybersecurity analyst by 9th of August. And all the original price for this particular program is actually 900 US dollars. That's the original price. That price has been discounted for the early bird discount, and is the discount for the first 20 people to register. So instead of you paying 900, you get to pay 750 US dollars. Okay, and that 750 US dollars even get better. So I believe we have people joining from UK, people joining from US, and also from Nigeria. So you see that 750 US dollars is equivalent to 615 pounds. Okay, and it even gets better. You see that 615 pounds or 750 US dollars, you are not mandated to pay everything at once. No, you are not. All you have to do to join the next class starting by 9th of August is pay as little as 150 US dollars, which is going to be meaning that you're spreading that 150, 750, you're spreading it for 5 months. You have instrumental payment, you have that payment plan, payment option, and that 150 US dollars is also equivalent to 123 pounds. So all you have to do to join the next class starting by 9th of August is pay 123 pounds or 150 US dollars. I'll have my colleague are dropping the link in the chat box, and I'm also going to walk you through how to make your payment and secure your spot to join the class starting by 9th of August. Okay. So all you have to do is okay, let me share that part of my screen. All you have to do is make that initial payment. So if you click on that link that my colleague dropped in the box, it's going to bring you to this Analytics Enrollment Center. Okay, it's going to bring you here, and all you have to do, so if you scroll down, you will see that you have the price, which I've already talked about, and it even gets better. So let's say 9th of August is few days away, and you believe that, oh, this is so close, I'm not sure I'll be able to get my everything in order before I'm able to join that class. Oh, I'm so sad. Am I going to miss this discount? But trust me, no, we have you covered. You have the ability to still take advantage of the discounts. And instead of you starting by August, you have the ability to start by 6th of September, right? So this particular discount covers for those looking to start by August and by September. So meaning you don't even still get to lose out on anything. And to register for the program, any of the program you're looking to register for, this is where you get to pay for it. But today we're talking about cybersecurity and how you can get yourself into the class and have Oluwatobi teach you on how to become a fantastic cybersecurity analyst. So what you want to do is you want to scroll to register for CS. Okay, so once you click on register for CS, it will open in another tab. Then I will be able to break down the payment plan so you have a better understanding. Now, you see, remember I told you that so one thing you need to take advantage of is if you see over here, you will see that the amount of seats we have left is 6. Remember, the class is starting by 9th of August, meaning for this particular cybersecurity class looking to start by August and September, the discounted slots from 20, you only have 6 left, meaning to take part of the discount, you need to be part of these 6 people that will register for the program. And if you look just below it, I told you that, oh, the price is 750 US dollars, but over here you could see 700. The purpose is it's more like an incentive. It's an incentive for people looking to pay as fast as possible. So to get people to pay as fast as possible, you get to save yourself additional 50 US dollars. So instead of paying 750, if you're looking to pay one time or you're looking to pay 2 times, instead of you paying 750, you get to pay 700. And in pounds, If you are looking to pay one time or two times, that is you're going to be paying £575 instead of, excuse me, instead of £615. Okay, so if you look at that, that's if you're looking to pay one time or two times. But if that will not be comfortable for you, you have the ability to spread it and even pay 3 times, 4 times, or even 5 times. Okay, if you're looking to pay 3 times, you'll be paying £205 every month for 5 months, for 3 months. And if you're looking to pay for 5 months, meaning you want to really be comfortable with the payment plan, you can select the 5 monthly instrumental, and all you have to pay is £123 every month for 5 months. So what you want to do is come onto this page, select the payment plan that works for you, which, let's say for the sake of this example, I will select the 5 instrumental payments, which is £123. You want to select it, then you want to scroll down, make sure you say secure your seat. Okay, so if you click on secure your seat, you will see the illustration showing you how you get to make your payment. Today is 31st of July. You get to pay your £123 31st of every month for 5 months. So you want to click on proceed. Once you click on proceed, you want to input your name. I will say Muidin Koni. Then you want to also input your email address. Then you want to click on proceed. Once you click on proceed, you will see a pop-up asking you to confirm your email. The reason is once you're done with your payments, the receipt to be generated and sent to your email. So you want to make sure that this email is correct. So once everything is correct, all look good, you click on all good, then you pay, you proceed with your payment. Then once you are done making your payment, you go to your email and you take a screenshot of that payment receipt sent to your email. Then you come back to this enrollment center. Once you come back to this enrollment center, just scroll a little bit just before the programs, the list of the programs, just before it, you will see upload your receipt here. So that upload your receipt here, that receipt that you've taken a screenshot of, you want to come here, click on this upload your receipt, complete the form. This is the spot where you will indicate or you will select if you're starting by August or you're starting by September, because you will be asked if you're starting by August or September. So you select one option. Then you also have opportunity to upload your receipts, then you submit. Once you have that done, this is you taking advantage of the discount. And when the class starts, you will be able to get everything you need. So immediately you get this done, somebody from the team will reach out to you, provide everything you need. These are the applications you need, your program timetables, so you know your timing for all the programs, both your technical class and your employability. You get a breakdown of everything, how it's going to be for your learning duration. Then you also get access to download and install all the applications you'll be needing to get yourself into the program. This is applicable for cybersecurity and every other programs that we do offer. Okay, so you want to make sure that you take advantage of these particular discounts that we have and secure your spots. And I'll be looking to see you in class by 9th of August or 6th of September. All right. So right now I'll be taking questions. If you have questions, you can drop in the chat box, or you can just indicate that you want to ask a question and you have ability to, I'll ask you to unmute your mic and you can unmute your mic and you get to speak. Okay. And remember, the discount is limited. It's initially available to the first 20 people to register, but right now we have just 6 seats left. So you want to take advantage of that and make sure you secure a spot, you don't miss out on the discount. Okay, and you start your learning journey with Analytics. Okay, so if you have questions in the chat box, I'll be going through the chat. You might want to drop your question in the chat and get to answer them. Joy said I've already paid for the August. Fantastic. So Joy, we're here for you. We'll be looking to see you in class by 9th of August. Okay. All right. All right. So Yusuf Atoyebi said, is the discount only for cybersecurity? No, the discount is for all the programs. Any of the program looking to register for, the discount is for, we have discounts for each and every one of them. But for the cybersecurity, we have just 6 six left. So what I'm going to do is, if you click on that link that my colleague dropped in the chat box, and you click on, let me click on another program, let's say data science, or let's say data engineering. So if I click on data engineering, the cybersecurity has just six seats left. But if you look at the data engineering has five. If I click on the financial analytics has, how many does financial analytics have? It has 10. Okay, so each program have their different discounts. Data engineering has five, so once the 5 slot is filled for data engineering, the discount is out. For the financial analytics, it still has 10. Once this 10 is filled, the discount is also over. For the cybersecurity, it has just 6 available. Okay, I hope that answers your question. So try as much as possible to secure a seat and you don't miss out on that discount that is currently available. All right. Okay. Oluyemi said, will the classes be on Zoom on Google? So the classes are always on Google Classroom. So it will be on Google Classroom. Classes are always on Google Classroom. We have some sessions, like your mentorship session is on Zoom, but your classroom itself, your technical, where you have all your learning materials, all your recorded classes, they are all in Google Classroom, and it gets better. You see, all your classes, they are all recorded. All live classes are all recorded and added to your email, to add it to your Google Classroom. So, and what that means is you have a lifetime access to everything, all your learning materials, all your live classes, all your recorded sessions. You have a lifetime access to everything because they will be added to your Google Classroom. Okay. All right. Do we have further questions, or is there anybody that would like to ask a question? You can just indicate and I'll ask you to unmute your mic. Do we have anybody that wants to ask questions? You can indicate. I will ask you to unmute your mic. Okay. Do you have any further questions? Any questions before we end the session for today? Do we have questions? Make sure that you go through that payment link and you secure a spot so that you don't miss out on the discount. Discount is fast running and the class is starting by 9th of August. And remember, if 9th of August is too near for you, you have the ability to register now and make your payments by secure a spot now and start your class by 6th of September. Okay. So I don't think, do we have any further questions? Okay, I don't think we have any further questions. So if you don't have any further questions, at the absence of any, I will say thank you all for being part of, I think you've given us about 1 hour, 50 minutes, 48 minutes to 50 minutes of your time. And I believe this has been very educative for every one of us. I believe Josephine learned a lot. At least she now knows what, when they say they're analyzing the log, she knows what it means. Okay, I believe each and every one of you now understand a little bit to have a better understanding of everything being taught. Go through the program, learn, and be able to get impact and have the opportunity to also transition into the tech space, take advantage of the opportunity right here. Oluyemi, you are totally welcome. All right, so at the absence of any other question, thank you to each and every one of you for being here. It's been very educative for me, and I believe it's been educative for you too. Thank you for being here, and I'll be looking forward to seeing each and every one of you in class starting 9th of August or 6th of September. But remember, the discount is not available forever. And the economy, we don't know where it might turn. There might be a price increment, or there might be a price decrease, but we all know majority of the time, it's rather increase rather than going down. So before the prices go back up, try as much as possible to secure spots. Take the plunge, take the journey, and start the journey of transitioning into a better path. And I'll be looking forward to see you at the very top. My name once again is Muideen Adeakoni, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you all in class. At the absence of any questions, thank you all for being here and enjoy the rest of the day. Cheers and bye for now.